Thank you very much, Donna. Commissioners, Chair, friends all, it's a great pleasure to be here today. And if I can, before I get into any of the specific reasons for tonight's function, thank you, Donna, for your representation, both for the work that you do as a Commissioner for Australia, but in watching the leadership role you've taken in a number of the discussions today, I think does great credit not only to what we hope to see from the International Whaling Commission, but from what's reflected in many of the people here, and I'd like to acknowledge that tonight. I should mention as well, of the many jobs I've aspired to in our Parliament, I've never for a moment aspired to being the Speaker and chairing the meeting. Herman, where are you? Extraordinary. Well done. In 2008, Australia, with a number of other nations represented here, decided to start to promote the concept of having research partnerships. And we began then to move with the research partnership based on the Southern Ocean. Tonight, we're able to launch, and I'm so pleased that so many of you have been able to come in significant numbers tonight, to be able to launch the first of those research projects. And you don't get a more iconic one in the ocean than to be launching a research project into the blue whale. When we think of those early explorers, those great expeditions into the Southern Ocean, where they would go into bays and see them abundant with the life of the biggest animal ever on Earth, and in the space of one lifetime, to have moved to the situation now where the largest animal ever on Earth is almost impossible to find. The irony and the note of that is hard to get past. When something's big, it's meant to be obvious. And yet the largest animal ever in the history of our planet is so difficult to find that we know in the space of one lifetime 300,000 were killed. But we don't know how many there are left. We don't know nearly enough about where they breed, where they feed, how they live. And it says so much that is good about the work of the Commission that we're all here with today, to know that we realise we need to find out. Now, to find out so much more about the life of the blue whale, we first need to find the blue whales. And the research partnership being spoken of tonight will be using acoustic methods and using that wonderful opportunity that we have of the particularly low frequency of the call of the blue whale to be able to find where they are, to go observe, in some cases tag, but most importantly, to learn. Not merely to learn their number, but to learn their habits. The few places that we know of where we know their feeding grounds, we're starting to cherish and starting to try to preserve that habitat. Right now in Australia, we have the draft maps out for our own marine conservation, with the Perth Canyon, one of the very few places around our shores where we know the blue whale goes to feed, being hopefully protected forevermore from trawling. These sorts of opportunities are only arrived at through knowledge, and we know our knowledge at the moment isn't where it needs to be. So over the course of the next 2 or 3 summers, teams will go out, go looking for the blue whale, go looking, go finding, go learning. And when we meet in 3 years, 4 years' time, that data will have been able to be plugged back in through the very best of the computer models which are available. And as a result of that, we'll still be dealing with an extraordinary problem, but we'll be dealing with it from a knowledge base that is not with us today. And that means our work in trying to preserve and see the numbers build again of blue whales will be so much stronger than it is right now, simply as a result of the partnership being launched tonight. I won't pretend for a minute that one research project changes massively the thirst for knowledge which is out there for cetaceans. Nor should we underestimate the fact that this research project, by focusing on the blue whale, is of itself iconic and does of itself, and will of itself, inspire further work in so many other areas. So while tonight we have an opportunity to chat amongst ourselves, to enjoy the company, to reminisce about stories of battles long ago and some probably more recent, we also shouldn't lose sight of the fact that every time we launch a new research project, we do the opposite of where we were at 100 years ago. And we see that there is a priority in rebuilding. There is a priority in understanding that that mystery known as the ocean, that mystery that occupies so much of the planet we inhabit, is something where we have obligations for conservation and nurturing and care that were nearly wrecked in the course of one lifetime, and that our generations now are saying never again. It's a wonderful thing. We are all part of it, and in 4 years' time we'll have a foundation to stand on that we don't have today. In recognition of the nature of that partnership, I recognise all of you and appreciate your presence here tonight, and I'd like from the United States, Commissioner Medina, to be able to join my remarks.